so your instructions from last time was to create a drawing from page 81, or sorry, page 82 top, choosing between several drawings. I decided to choose letter G here. And there's just a couple little tidbits I wanted to show you on letter G. First off is always a good habit of saving your fillets to the last. A lot better to add your fillets when it's a 3D solid than it is to add your fillets into sketches. Fillets on a sketch will just really make the complexity of your sketches so much more, and it's a lot better to fillet them at the end. And fillets are something that often change, so it's easy to change them here if you do them at the end. So for example, those two bottom corner fillets, I did those there at 1/2 of an inch on this drawing, which is great. These fillets, which are those two there, and one on this side, I did there at the end, and I did those at 1/4 inch. So those fillets, always good to put those in at the end. The other thing I wanted to show you on this drawing is this slot. To put this slot in, there's a cool command for slot. I'm going to go back in there to the sketch for that. So there's my slot all fully constrained. If you notice, mine's already set up here to it, but up here your rectangle command, if you hit the down arrow for it, you have some options for slots. You can do an arch slot, whatever. I just did the center to center slot is what I use, so I clicked on it, center to center slot. Come over here, I'm just going to put one down here on the open space. From there to there, put it on a nice straight line, and then you can pick your height of your slot. And then you just start dimensioning it up. On this one, the first thing I did is I wanted it centered up here on my object, so I just did a horizontal or vertical constraint there on that. I picked vertical, made the vertical point of that, even with the center of the object, so that centers it up there nicely. Put in the dimension here, showing the length of the slot from there to there, showing that as I have 3, so I'll make that 3. Then the radius of the slot at 0.375, and then one more dimension in there, showing where this goes up and down. So this one I put it in like that, and that turns it all blue. So something like that. Obviously I don't need the slot down here in the wide open, but it was just kind of showing you there how to do that slot. So any drawings you have slots on, slots are really not too bad to do if you know about that command. Other than that, on this drawing, I started this as just one block that was this shape from the right side view, and drew it like so. Extruded it both ways. Then I made an extrusion and made this a cut on this extrusion and cut out that block off that front face there. And then I just did my slot as I just showed you and used the fillet. Really a pretty straightforward drawing. Okay, so your instructions for today now is, out of the new list of drawings you're going to get today, in combination with the drawings left from yesterday, I want you to make 3 parts that will fit together. So this is my first part I drew last time. Today I drew another part. I drew this part. And I want to make it so these 2 parts fit together. So here's my assembly. I'm going to make it so these 2 parts fit together. I want to make it so this part fits right here onto this part, like that. So it's like these 2 parts were made to go together. So you're really going to have to think about your dimensions you put on these so they fit together correctly. So for example, I'm going to start this by constraining, just mating this part right there. Applying that. So there's that part mated there. It slides around on that surface. Then next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mate this right up to my slot. So I may have to adjust some things, but we'll adjust if I need to. So I'm going to go constrain, a little bit different type of constraint this time. I'm still going to use my mate constraint, but I'm going to hover over top of this arc, and it's going to give me the center line. So I'm going to click there, select the center line of that arc, the axis of it. Then I'm going to come over here, I'm going to hover over top of that one, and I'm going to constrain center line to center line. Right like that. I'm going to apply that. So now, let me hit my F6, get back in there. Now my part's fastened in there, it rotates right around those center points there. And that's exactly what I wanted. That's where a bolt would go through, just to bolt this together. But now, however, notice it doesn't fit real good here in my length on this. That length's just not right. So I need to modify one of these parts. I think I'm going to leave my red part all the same. That was letter G. I think I'm going to change this part instead, and this is letter K on the bottom. So instead I'm going to change this. So I'm just going to measure. First off, you can use my measure command, and measure from the center of that circle to the center of that circle, and I get 3 inches. I need 3 inches between the center of those 2 circles on this part. So I'm going to go back to that part. I'm going to go in here. Let's figure out where this is. Where is this drawing? I think I did that one in my extrusion here. Yes, I did. So I'm going to click on my sketch. Now, I made this a little bit differently. That's going to be a little bit more difficult to do. The center of mine is actually going to be out here, so I'm going to really have to kind of play with this a little bit. 3 inches I know is not enough. You know what might be easier is doing it this way. I'm going to go back to my assembly. I'm going to rotate this back around to where it's approximately there in place. I'm going to measure from the center of this to the center of this. Alright, it gives me 0.791 inches. It's a little bit of an angle there, is why it has me kind of an odd measurement there. And did I go from center to center? Ooh, I did not go from center to center correctly. Let me try that again. Let me measure once more. I'm going to measure from this bottom point to that one. There, it gave me a nice straight line. From center to center, it's 0.252, just over a quarter inch. What that tells me is, on this, I need to increase this middle measurement a quarter inch. I'm going to go 2.25, do there. Now notice here is another little side note. I made this dimension as a formula. So this dimension, we did this the other day, is the overall dimension of 5 minus the dimension of 2.25, so it's D0 minus D4 divided by 2. So that made it nice when I came in here to edit this drawing. I just edited this one, increased that to 2.25, and it automatically kept that centered up for me. Now let's see if this works in my assembly. So we finish that sketch, go back to my assembly, let's update. Look how nicely I think that those things line up there. Let's see if it constrains. Constrain the center line of that to the center line of that. Apply, and look how nicely those two parts fit together. They fit together really nice. This one, it overlaps just a hair on this side. You know, maybe we could do that a little bit, change that up. Where I would change that up is I'd probably change this red part, and I'd measure from, again, there to there. That measures the 1/8 of an inch, so 0.125. So on this drawing, I need to change this slot so it's 1/8 of an inch higher. So I'd go in there to that part, come down here to where I have my slot at, right there, and move my slot up 1/8 of an inch. Right now I'm at 1.25. Let's change that down to 1.125. Change that, finish my sketch, go back to my assembly, update it, and look how nicely, it's like these two parts were made to go together. And that's what I want you to do, is make it so those two parts are made to go together. Now, you'll probably have to end up modifying your parts, the letters in the book from page 82, a little bit so they don't look exactly like the ones from the book. But yet, I think mine really look pretty close to the ones from the book here. I think my letter K looks very similar to the one in the book, and I think my letter G from the top look very similar. And just look how nicely those things line up. So that's got two of my parts together. I want you to add a third part to this. I do not have my third part created, but I want you to add a third part to this somewhere. I could do a lot of different things. So for example, I could, let's see, I'm looking for another part that might work with this. I could just add letter E out here with the slot on letter E onto the end of this. Would be just fine. I could add letter H with a little arm on letter H. I can make it line up with the slot here. I can make letter H, the circular part of it, line up with this portion here. Letter J, I can make letter J, the circular part of either end of it, line up to this part. I really am not going to be that picky. Just pick a couple parts to go together and make it work. So, good luck on this. Actually, I'm sorry, I almost forgot one part. The other part I want you to do is, I want you to make some pins. This part is just not going to magically stay on there. It's just not going to stay there like that. You need something that holds it together. Typically in this instance, you'd have a nut and a bolt that hold it together. I'm not going to make you create a nut and a bolt. Some of you are a little bit more advanced and are getting this. Great. If you want to create a nut and a bolt to go together, that's fine. But all I really want is just a pin that's going to hold these together. So for doing that, I'm going to have to do a little bit of measuring. See, I'm going to measure this size of my circle here. And what do I got? I got that's a 0.375 radius circle. So it's a diameter of 0.75. And then measure from this surface to there, it's 1.5 inches. So it looks like I need a diameter of 0.75 and 1.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and do me a new drawing, a new part. I just, again, make a pin. So I'm going to start my sketch. I'm going to start it on this top plane. I'm going to start with a circle. I'm going to start it right there on the origin. Then I'm just going to dimension that at 0.75. So there's my circle. I'm going to finish that sketch and extrude. Again, on something like this, it's a bolt, so I probably would just go one direction. And I think I just measured that to be a 1.5, so I'm going to go OK. Then I want to put some sort of a head on it. So I'm going to start my sketch on this top surface. You could do a circular shaped head, but if we come up here and look, we have some other options. Where are my other options? I think it's underneath this, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Underneath there, we can do a polygon shaped option. If you know what a bolt is, a bolt actually has a 6-sided head, which it defaults to. And start it there, hold up, yeah, something like that. You need a dimension from flat to flat. Nice round number there is good, so let's go 1. Now the only other thing you need to constrain on this is this thing will spin around, so we need to constrain it something like this. Oops, actually, I guess I already have it constrained. Sometimes you do have to do this, and you have to make like that point of it horizontally constrained with the center point, or vertically constrained with the center point, and that will do it. So there we got that fully constrained. I'm going to go ahead and extrude, and I'm just going to put a head on this bolt, maybe 0.5, like that. I'm not going to make threads to it again. I'm just going to make this a pin that sticks through there and stays in there. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and save that, save it with my other parts, and this is just going to be called bolt. I'm going to see if I can save it this way. I'm not sure. Bolt and 0.75. I don't know if it's going to let me do the point there. Let's see. Hey, it did. It changed that. So now I'm going to go back to my assembly. I'm going to hit my place. I'm going to place in, I've got to go to where I have that saved to. I'm going to place in my bolt. I'm going to need 2 of them. Actually, I keep calling it the bolt. This is just a pin. I'm going to constrain. On this, I'm just going to use the center lines again. I'm going to use the mate option. I'm going to go center line of that bolt there, to the center line of that hole there. Apply that. I'm going to do the other one, center line there, to the center line there. Apply that. Now notice, both of them are going in that direction. That's really not what I wanted. I want them going in from this other direction. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to go constrain. I'm going to do a mate. I'm going to mate that side to this surface. And apply that. Oh, it will not let me do that. I should have done the other step first. So that's okay. I'm going to go here. I'm just going to delete out that mate. Notice what I did there. I just opened this up, deleted out my mate. It's going to make me do that first. So I'm going to constrain this surface to there. Apply that. Let me pull this one out of there a little bit. Constrain that surface to there. Apply that. Now I can go center line there, to the center line there. Apply that. Oh, come on. Center line that, center line that. Why is my center line that? Center line, center line. Huh. I don't know what it's doing to me. That's interesting. I'm going to delete them all and try once again. Alright, one more time, sorry. That was very, very weird. There we go. I don't know what it was doing that first time. So center line, made it there. Let's see if this other one will do it. If this other one's freaking out a little bit too. There we go. Oh, but I don't have the other mate done yet. Alright. Now again, center line of that. Do the center line of that. And it's going to freak out there. That's interesting. Okay, got it on that one. Alright, so there we go. We got 2 pins. They're holding this in. These bolts will spin around and around. That's fine. They're